Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I am going to present my recent research topic that currently I am working on it. My name is Hasan Rüstemoğlu, and I am working on environmental economics. Here, I would like to talk about transportation sector and its carbon dioxide emissions mainly, and the case country is Turkey. Actually, as everybody knows, the main problem is the climate change and global warming, and it's the current and one of the most important issues in the world's agenda. And main reason of this problem is the increasing carbon dioxide emissions. And when we check Turkey, we can see that the carbon dioxide emissions are increasing faster than the world's average. And transport sector, their carbon dioxide emissions are even faster than the world average. Actually, there are different perspectives from developing and developed nations regarding the global warming issue. Developing nations are not yet to finish their development, therefore they focus more on economic growth. On the other hand, developed nations are forcing the reduction of the harmful carbon dioxide emissions. Transport is the second leading sector of Turkey regarding the carbon dioxide emissions, just after the electricity and heat production. Actually, our aim is analyze and identify the carbon dioxide emissions resulted from the road transportation, which is accounting the 90% of the transport sector emissions from 1994 till 2015. We combine two different decoupling factor analysis. The first one is OACDs, the second one is the Tapio's decoupling elasticity index, in order to see is there any desirable decoupling between the economic growth and air pollution. And after that, we use the generalized Fisher index decomposition approach in order to see what are the main contributors of the carbon dioxide emissions of this sector. Then, actually, there are several studies that are published about Turkey, but the main focus is the manufacturing and construction sectors or the general emissions. This study will focus more on transportation, as I mentioned before. And actually, there are mostly used methods. The first one is the LMDI method, and the second one is refined less Paris index method. Actually, this time we are going to use a methodology which is new for Turkey. This is the generalized Fisher index method. Here we have the literature of different countries about the transportation sector, about United States, United Kingdom, Taiwan, Germany, and so on. As you can see in the literature, logarithmic mean division index method is dominating these studies. Here we have one study about the China, which is using the same methodology with us, the generalized Fisher index method. And here we have the calculations of these methodologies. Just what I want to say simple here, I will not go too much detail about the method. The reference value is 0 after the first decoupling factor calculation. If it's positive, that means there is a decoupling between carbon dioxide emissions and real gross domestic product. On the other hand, regarding the Tapio's decoupling elasticity index, there are 8 different scenarios. The most desirable ones are weak decoupling and, of course, the strong decoupling. Because in these cases, for example, in the strong decoupling, carbon dioxide emissions are decreasing while economic output is increasing, which is the target actually for most of the countries. And in the weak decoupling, both of them are increasing, however the carbon dioxide emissions are increasing with a slower rate. Now, and we have the generalized Fisher index method. It's a little bit calculated, it's a little bit complicated and related with mathematical calculations. In the end, we have, let's say I have to be quick. We have 5 different factors in our study. The first one is, for example, the carbon intensity. The second one is energy intensity of vehicles. Third one is the vehicle ownership of the GDP growth. Fourth one is per capita income, and the last one is population. Then, here we have the empirical findings. According to the OECD's decoupling factor analysis, in 11 out of 21 periods, there were a relative decoupling between carbon dioxide emissions and economic growth. I listed them on the left side. On the right side, we have the decoupling values, which is showing that the variables move together. And here in the Tapios decoupling elasticity index, results are here. We have this strong decoupling in 6 out of 21 periods and weak decoupling only in 3 out of 21 periods. And here we have the decomposition analysis results. For the generalized Fisher index method, reference value is 1. Therefore, as you can see on the graph, lots of the time per capita income, as it was expected, increased the carbon dioxide emissions of the sector. Second one is population is interesting because it's always increasing the carbon dioxide emissions, but because of the Turkey's condition and loss of migration towards the country is now, therefore after 2010 the contribution of population become more visible. In the third case, we have the vehicle ownership factor. As you know, as the people feel wealthier, they are buying more and new cars. Therefore, vehicle ownership is also increase the carbon dioxide emissions. As you can see on the graph, they are more than 1 in most of the time. In the fourth case, the energy intensity of vehicles, in some parts it follows the reducing impact, but it's not on the desired level. And in the last case, we have the pollution coefficient. This is the carbon intensity of energy use of the cars. It's going a little bit down because in Turkey people are starting to use the LPG cars, and recently they started to use also the hybrid cars. These are the positive impacts of this factor, I mean reducing impacts of the carbon dioxide emissions. Okay, if I summarize what I found, in 10 out of 21 periods, relative decoupling observed in Turkey's transport sector. In 6 out of 21 periods, it was a strong decoupling, and in 3 out of 21 periods, it was weak decoupling. GDP per capita is always expected to increase the carbon dioxide emissions. However, the other factors, apart from population, should be able to reduce this accelerating impact. And if you check the percentages, as you can see, the energy intensity of vehicles and pollution coefficient factor are not at the desired level. Okay, what can we do for the future? This is not something that you don't know, but we should highlight it. Turkey should promote more public transportation. The railway network should be expanded. Sometimes I read this from another article, preferring the bus could be more environmentally friendly than the aircraft. It's also suggested the integrated transport investment strategies which help to reduce the carbon dioxide emissions. Traffic management and speed optimization can also be helpful. And of course the modal shift to public transport, walking, cycling could be much better. Actually, in Turkey, people are likely to buy new technology cars. They are, let's say, passionate about the cars. And there is also some news that we are reading. Turkey is going to produce their own car. Currently, in my opinion, it's possible to produce an LPG car or a, let's say, hybrid car, because currently 2 models, for example, Honda is producing, final statement, sir. Honda is producing one of the cars in Turkey with LPG engine, and Toyota is producing another car with hybrid engine. That means for the passenger cars, if they are going to produce a new car, it should be used such kind of, let's say, experiences that they already gain in other brands. Okay. In the end, what can I say? It's not now environmentally sustainable, but that does not mean that it cannot be recovered. Okay, thank you very much for listening. If you have any questions, I am glad to answer them.
Is there any question? Yeah.
Thank you very much for your information. I just wonder, how did you collect the data?
Okay, I collected the data from different sources. One of them is the World Bank, World Development Indicators. The other one is United Nations website about the climate change. And the third one is related with the Turkish Statistical Institution.
Thank you very much.
I thank you.